Hey there everyone, this is Bob Martin, known all around the world as the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Drydocks.com, and I want to welcome you to the first of what I hope to be many introductory video tutorials for the RC submarine beginner. This is going to be a series of videos I'm going to put out over the course of the next few weeks. It is going to be available for free to members of the Nautilus Drydocks DiveTribe. If you're not already a member, head on over there, look at the top, join the DiveTribe. It's exceptionally reasonable. The value that you get is incredible, and these videos are going to prove it for you. This first video is going to be free for everyone, going to give you a little taste of what's to come. We are going to focus first and foremost on frequently asked questions for the RC submarine hobby. So, without any further delay, let's get started. All right, before we get deep into this, I want to let you know that I am going to be using as sort of a template for these video courses, my book. It's called Diving Deep. It's the Beginner's Guide to RC Submarines. It's available for purchase on my website. It's very, very reasonable, and it answers a lot of the questions that you may have about the RC submarine hobby, geared towards the beginner. It's available in hard copy, like I'm holding right here. Or you can download it digitally if you want to save a few dollars, or if shipping is going to be painful. So, just a tip, if you want some visual reference that you can hold in your hand to follow along with, please head on over to the site, grab the book Diving Deep, and you'll have a little bit better of an idea where we're going with all this. All right, let's get started with the first question that is typically asked by newcomers to the RC submarine hobby. What exactly is an RC submarine? Is it just like a submarine-shaped boat that kind of tools around on the surface of the water? No, these are fully functional scale replicas of real or fantasy boats. They come complete, typically, with propulsion systems and ballast systems, meaning that these are fully capable of diving all the way to the bottom of the lake, pond, or pool and operating just as the full-scale counterparts do. The next question that people ask, and it's asked quite a lot, and that is, well, what's the point? You can't see a submerged RC submarine anyway. There's nothing more strange than seeing a bunch of people standing by the pond side looking at an empty lake. Well, that is true. If you watched any of my videos in the past, and if you read my book, you'll see that I say in there that this is a hobby that is typically reserved for what I like to call the elite. So now what I mean by that is that it takes a higher degree of experience and talent to successfully bring to completion the construction of an RC submarine, and it is also much more challenging to operate than, say, an RC boat or an RC car. So it's a higher level than a lot of these other RC hobbies that are out there. Now, part and parcel of that, this what's the point thing, it's because it is so challenging. The idea of being able to submerge your boat to at or below periscope depth, hold the correct depth and attitude, and resurface safely is the challenge. And I think when you go to the lake and you see other RC operators there, they will be the first to acknowledge that it really is a whole nother world. So lots of people may scoff at you, can't see it anyway. Well, to a certain degree, the challenge is in the construction and operation. It's not so much being able to see and show off. So if you're a little bit more introverted and you like to feel your self-worth based on what you built, this may be the hobby for you. Next question. What is the best place or the best submarine to get for a beginner? Now, a lot of that depends on your individual talent and experience, but generally speaking, you want something as simple as possible. Do not get caught up in the excitement of buying the largest, most complicated, and feature-ridden boat that you possibly can. Odds are exceptionally good that in these beginning steps of your RC submarine journey, you will stumble. And I have purchased many a project that was completely unfinished for pennies on the dollar because the individuals got frustrated and decided to put it on the shelf or move on to other interests. We do not want you to be that person. Our goal is to make this a successful endeavor on your part. Now, the best thing that you can do, like I said, get a simple boat. World War II boats are fine. These are somewhat commonly known as fleet boats in many cases, but they pose many challenges. You've got dual props as opposed to single props. You've got all the hydrodynamic forces that are working on flat decks and lots of drag from the conning towers. And obviously they're much harder to put together from an assembly, painting, and weathering perspective. So my advice to you, pick something that excites you that is more modern in shape. So a modern diesel electric submarine or a nuclear submarine. These simple shapes are exceptionally easy to put together. They are exceptionally hydrodynamic, which means you're going to get some great performance from them in and under the water as well. Single screws are also much easier to install and create the driveline for than dual shaft boats. So that would be my advice to you. Do not go too small and do not go too big. Both of them pose their own challenges. You're going to want something that's big enough to allow easy access for repair and maintenance, but not so large that you need a pickup truck to haul it to and from the lake and a crane to put it in and out of the water. Save that for later, or potentially for someone with bigger muscles or stronger backs. Do not go overboard with features. If you want to get fancy, put some LED lights in it, but please, please, please do not put on your wish list functional missiles, functional torpedoes, sound systems. All of these will come later. For now, it's the old KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. The best boat that you can start out with is the one that you finish, get in the water, and can enjoy. Once you have that in your fleet, move on to the next one and you can expand your technical challenges. So that is my advice about where to start for a boat. Now, there are many kits out on the market right now that are great choices. The Mobius Skipjack in 1/72nd scale is a great choice. There's some other offerings from Revell of Germany as well, like the Gatto and large Type 9 kits, which are good choices as well. But that Skipjack is really one of the better ones. Now, a new trend in the hobby that I'm super excited about and I'm trying to promote through my business is this idea of 3D printed boats. If you've got a 3D printer or access to a 3D printer, we've got many, many different files that you can purchase, download, and print out yourself, and eventually make a fully functional submarine out of it. If you've got the printer, then really for the cost of the files and say $20 or $30 worth of filament, you can have a fully printed hull. All right, next question. How fast do they go? I'm not really sure why this is a pertinent question. If you think about this, the idea behind a scale model is for it to offer scale performance. And so if you want to work backwards, you would take the full size and you scale it down, and that would be how fast you want. Generally speaking, most submarines will move at a fast walking pace. Typically speaking, they'll be a little faster on the surface than submerged if they are like a fleet boat, and they'll be faster submerged than surface if they're a modern boat. So you can keep that in mind. There's exceptions to this, and you can build out your boat to make it whatever you want. If you want to have a German U-boat that is fast enough to hydroplane across the lake, that is your prerogative. I am not going to call you out for it. Actually, it would be cool to see. If you go way back in my video archives, if you want to see it, I have a very, very fast U-boat that I put a video out like a decade ago. That's super fun. But again, you're looking for scale speed, fast walking pace at full throttle, but most of the time you're going to be operating at scale cruise speeds which is going to be just a gentle walking pace, easy to keep track of, easy to operate. So there you go. Next question, how does an RC submarine work? So basically, what you've got is a hull like the one that you see behind me, and inside is going to be a watertight compartment, a waterproof compartment. That could take the shape of just a box that you have a lid that's screwed down on, or it could be a cylinder. Let's take a look at one. I'll show you what we're talking about. All right, so what you see behind me is an example of a boat that we just finished out for a customer here at the dry docks. This is a company called Shearline put these model hulls out many years ago, and this is a dive module that's put out from a company out of the United Kingdom called OTW. We offer these for sale on our website, but you can see, just generally speaking, you've got a propeller, dive planes, your linkages. You're going to have like a motor compartment that stays dry, a ballast compartment that fills and empties with water so you can control your buoyancy, and then typically a forward compartment that will house any additional electronics or sometimes your battery. In this particular case, the battery is actually outside the cylinders, lives underneath right there. So you can see there's a lot of different ways of going about it. So how does a submarine work? Basically, in order to dive, this ballast tank will fill with water, which is basically making the submarine heavier, sinks underneath the water. It does its mission, and then in order to resurface, that water is evacuated from the ballast tank, and it comes back up to the surface. Lots of different ways of going about it, and we're going to get into that later in this video series. But generally speaking, it's how an RC submarine works. Next commonly asked question, how do you control these submarines if they are underwater? Well, the answer to that question is with a radio transmitter. So radio waves are sent through the air, through the water, and into the submarine. Now, there's really two schools of thought and two methodologies that can be employed. Traditionally, you would use what would be a low frequency radio. Here in North America, that frequency would be 75 megahertz, which is the frequency range reserved for surface craft. In Europe, I believe that standard frequency is 40 megahertz. So those low frequency waves actually penetrate fresh water exceptionally well. If you're standing nearby the boat, you could get 20 or 30 feet deep in fresh water before you start worrying about signal loss. Now, the little caveat to that is the moment you introduce contaminants into the water, such as chemicals, minerals, or biological contaminants, that range effectively gets less and less. In a heavily chlorinated swimming pool, for example, you may only get a couple of feet of control before those chemicals interfere with the radio signals and you lose control of the boat. The other option, which this particular boat actually employs, is a 2.4 gigahertz high frequency radio system. When you employ those, you need to keep the antenna above the surface of the water right here. And that allows you control so long as that antenna is above the surface. So you've basically got from full surface waterline, which would be down here, all the way up to full periscope depth, which would be up here. So it's a big spectrum of room that you've got to operate in. In practical application, if you're working at a pond or a lake where you don't know exactly what's underneath and you certainly can't see the boat when it's under the water, this is the ideal circumstance. Even if you're with a low frequency radio, typically 95% of the time you're going to stay at periscope depth or higher for safety. As soon as you go down, you don't know what's under there, be it weeds, fishing lines, shopping carts, or anything, sticks and branches. You don't want to lose your boat, so you're going to operate safely. Now, in a swimming pool, obviously that's much different. You can see your boat at all times, and that's when those low frequency radios shine. Advantages and disadvantages to each. The big thing to note, low frequency radios are no longer manufactured anywhere. If you know a source of low frequency radios, please let me know. Our hobby desperately needs them. So a lot of people, including myself, are starting to enjoy the benefits of these high frequency radios. The big ones being low cost, huge customizability, no crystals that you need to match up, massive range, and very high reliability. So that is how you control an RC submarine. Next question, how much does an RC submarine cost? That is a very large spectrum, and you're going to get a huge variance depending on what kind of boat you're building. Typically speaking, they are going to start at about $1,000 for all of the components, and you got to build that out yourself. But it can go as high as you want to pay when you start talking about extremely large-scale museum quality replicas, scale functional replicas of submarines, and you start putting in features like torpedoes and missiles and sound and telemetry and all of these other cool things that are going to drive that price up. So cheap submarine, $1,000-ish for the parts. If you start talking about a turnkey boat, if you can find them, they're pretty rare. This is a small hobby. Typically, they're going to go between $2,000 and $3,000. Both of these boats are good examples of that. They're worth about $3,250, fully tested, trimmed, ready to go with everything that you need. So this is not a hobby for people who have shallow wallets. But there are options to help make things easier. I'm currently working on a new product called the Blue Water Boats. Check my website out for that. It's going to be a little bit cheaper way for you to get into the hobby with a really cool boat that is a ton of fun to drive. Next question, what kind of features can I put in my RC submarine? That is only limited by your time, talent, and money. Basically, almost everything has been done, including things like depth finders, autonomous control, working periscopes, shooting torpedoes, firing missiles, flashing lights. Almost anything that you can think of can be put into these boats, again, provided you got the right platform and the time, talent, and money to make it all happen. All right, final question in this series. What do you do if your submarine does not come back up again when you dive it? So the general answer to that question is you try and get it back. You take your best guess as to where it was and what heading it was, and you search the area carefully to try and locate the boat. I've got a video in my, actually two videos that are a good one in my channel. I'll link those in here if you guys want to take a look at it. The loss and recovery of a couple of RC submarines. If you operate carefully, the odds of losing one are pretty low. Usually it's user error that will drive a boat to become lost, but of course mechanical failure is always a problem. What'll end up happening if you lose your boat, you can't find it yourself. You contract with a local dive school or something like that. They send a diver out and they'll recover your boat. There's a lot of really cool stories on my forums, which I highly recommend you check out, of people recovering boats years after having lost them, and some of them even had the electronic components inside still dry after all of that time. All right, with that, I am going to call this video done. Introduction to RC submarines. Again, open for everyone. If you're interested in what I'm putting out here, if you want to see what the next ones look like, head over to my website at nautilusdrydocks.com. Click on the DiveTribe link and sign up. It's $49 for a whole year of access. You will have access to not only this series of sub-school videos, but also our DiveTribe recorded videos, which is basically a group of about 20 of us that get together every 2 weeks, talk RC submarines for an hour or longer. And as a DiveTribe member, you get free access to that as well. So lots of value there. I hope to see you at our DiveTribe meetings, but at the very least, head on over, check out the rest of these instructional videos for the Nautilus Drydocks Sub School. Hopefully it is helpful for you. With that, I'm going to sign off. Again, my name is Bob Martin, the RC Sub Guy with the nautilusdrydocks.com. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.